Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, Alternative Learning System o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETULay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETULay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETULay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Sound check. Okay. So ayan, live na po tayo. So magandang hapon muna sa ating mga nakasubaybay sa hapong ito sa Facebook. Gusto ko lamang pong batiin ng magandang hapon sina Bulaat Miranda from Codal National High School, Irene Lopez from Canyogan High School, Kalumpit, Bulacan. Josette Perez, good noon po. May Barcenas, Rochelle Ann Ivasco from Caloocan, from Subang Dako Technical Vocational School, Precious Parba. Quezon City, si Ashwi Banhao. Sino pa? Good afternoon, sir. Yes, good afternoon to Francine Alexis Bilen. Mark Magbanwa from Bagao National Agricultural School Annex. And Ronald S. Elliott from Tagum City. Okay. Sige. Pasyanan na po natin ang ating talakayan sa araw na ito. Muli ako po ang inyong tutor para sa Practical Research 1 ng Senior High School. Alam na naman po natin na ngayong araw nito ay ang huling araw ng ating week week 8 at tuling araw na rin po ng ating first semester ng kasalukuyang school year. At para po sa ating subject, sa research, ang ating pong tatalakayin sa araw na ito ay tungkol sa techniques in listing references ayon po sa ating MELC guide or Most Essential Learning Competencies guide at ang ating pong MELC na tatalakayin sa araw na ito ay ang lists references. So nasa screen po ninyo yan pong nasa pinakababa na may red na rectangle. So ang ating learning objective sa araw na ito ay ang sumusunod. Lists references, so the learner lists references cited in a research report using APA style, identifies features and guidelines of APA referencing style, and differentiates commonly used referencing styles. So ano po ang referencing styles? The what and the why of referencing in research, particularly the APA style, at ano po ang mga guidelines ng APA referencing style, at ano pa po ang ibang referencing styles na ginagamit ng researchers para sa kanilang study o research. Tatalakayin sa araw nito. So balikan muna natin ang ating pinag-aralan last week sa pamamagitan ng pagsagot sa mga sumusunod. So again, nung nakaraang linggo tayo po ay atin po tinalakay ang tungkol sa drawing conclusions from patterns and themes and formulating recommendations based on conclusion. So narito po ang unang activity, fill in the blank. Para sa number 1, again sa ating pong mga manunood dyan, maaari po kayong sumagot sa pamamagitan ng type sa inyong comment, sa inyong sagot sa comment box. So ang number 1 po ay blank usually includes a comprehensive summary of the findings. Is it A, recommendation, B, statement of the problem, C, conclusion, or D, introduction? Sige nga po, sino po makakasagot dyan sa ating unang katanungan? Fill in the blanks lang po. Okay, sumagot si Francine Alexis Belen. C daw ang kanyang sagot. Tingnan natin kung si nga ba ang tamang sagot. Correct. Very good, Francine. So letter C ang tamang sagot. So conclusion usually includes, yes, tama ka rin, Rica May Horanio Malalis. So conclusion usually includes a comprehensive summary of the findings. Number 2, blank is a section in a research paper that presents and discusses how it supports findings and conclusions. A, conclusion. B, recommendation. C, review of related literature. Or D, significance of the study. Number 2 na po tayo. Sige po, type lang po ng inyong sagot sa mga gusto pong sumagot. Huwag po kayo mahihiya. Para po sa inyo itong ating ginagawa. Ano po kayang sagot sa number 2? Okay, so ang tama pong kasagutan ay D, recommendation. So again, recommendation is a section in a research paper that presents and discusses how it supports findings and conclusions. Let's proceed to number 3. Ayan. Which of the following is not true? A, conclusions are inferences, deductions, abstractions, implications. general statements and or generalizations based upon the findings. B. Conclusions should point out what were factually learned from the inquiry. C. Important implications applied to practice are specifically noted in the recommendation section. Or D. Conclusions give the written work a sense of completeness. Sige nga po, number 3. Ano pong sagot nila sa number 3? Okay, Elbert Ora watching from Pantabangan National High School. Good afternoon po, Beverly from Dilangali National High School, Cotabato Division. Meron din po tayo from Alacaigan ES Division of Negros Occidental, si Sir Reynaldo Bayona. Okay, Francine Alexis Bilen, letter D ang kanyang sagot. Ito ba ay para sa number 3? Tingnan natin kung tama. Letter C ang tamang sagot. Important implications applied to practice are specifically noted in the conclusion section, hindi po sa recommendation section. Okay, number 4. Number 4 na po tayo. So number 4, the question is, which of the following is not true? A, the process of drawing conclusions begins as early as you code the data. B, the data may be grouped according to theme. C, the responses gathered can be contrasted and compared. Or D, the statistical meaning of the results only should be discussed in the conclusion. What do you think is the correct answer for number 4, for question number 4? Hello po, Ma'am Mayi, hello Penis, watching from Schools District of Lambunao East. Watching din po si Takinan, Dayaday Carol, Ariel Dianio from Kibia High School, SDO Cotabato. Answered niya ay B. Sa number 4 ba yan? Ang tamang sagot po sa number 4 ay letter D. The statistical meaning of the results only should be discussed in the conclusion. You should go beyond the statistical meaning, no, in discussing the results of your study. Go beyond the statistical meaning. Kasi nga, qualitative research siya, so dapat you go beyond the statistical meaning of the results or the numerical data of your research. So letter D po ang tamang sagot. It's not true. Next. So punta naman po tayo sa characteristics of recommendation. So last week pinag-aralan po natin ang katangian ng isang credible at acceptable na recommendation. So ano po kaya ang mga ito? 4 lang po sila at sila ay mga descriptive words or adjectives, no? So ang una po ay making sure that it flows sensibly from the conclusion. So, ibig sabihin, your recommendation will have this characteristic by making sure that it flows sensibly from the conclusion. Ano po kaya itong characteristic na ito? Yes, hello po, Sir Aubrey Avicilia. Ano grade po ito? Senior high school po tayo. Hamiel Singkala. Sige po, ang first na characteristic ay logical. Mukhang wala pong sumasagot sa ating kasalukuyang activity. Anyway, review pa rin po tayo. Ang pangalawang characteristic ng recommendation ay relevant, and it is achieved when it meets the purpose and the scope as stated in the introduction. And the third characteristic is concise, and you can make it concise by using words that are precise and give reasons for the recommendation is given only if necessary. And clear, which is made by avoiding particularly on how a recommendation is to be implemented. Avoiding ambiguity. Okay? So yun po ang apat na characteristics of a credible and unacceptable recommendation. Base po sa atin na pag-aralan last week. Okay, so ngayon naman po, bilang paghahanda sa ating tatalakayin ngayong araw na ito, alam ko po na ang tungkol po sa citation sa inyong sources or sa information na ginamit ninyo sa inyong research ay pinag-aralan nyo na sa mga nakaraang module, no? Nasa chapter 3 yata siya, sa part siya ng related literature. So ngayon, bago natin talakayin ang ating paksa sa araw na ito, sagutan muna natin ang ilan sa mga katanungan. So number 1, what is the correct author and year format for a journal article in a reference list? Is it A, Brill, J, period B, period 2011, in parentheses, period, or B, C, or D? May sumagot ba sa number 1? What do you think is the answer for number 1? What's the correct author and year format? Sige, ang tama pong sagot sa number 1 ay letter A. Brill, J, period, B, period, parenthesis, 2011. So, nasa loob po ng open and close parenthesis ang year, 2011, at period after the close parenthesis. Sige, number 2. What is the correct reference format for a book? Ayan po. Ang number 2. You can do a quick skimming of each item. So, ang number 2 po, the correct answer is, so 1A, sabi ni Rica May Horanio Malales, Francine Alexis Belen, C, ang kanyang sagot. Sa number 2, ang tamang sagot po ay letter D. Ayun, letter D. Whiteberg, R, period S, period, ampersand, Gold, D, period, 2011, Foundations of Sport and Exercise Psychology, 6th edition, period, Human Kinetics. So, letter D. Number 3. Ayun ang ating number 3. What is the correct reference format for a web document? Sige nga po, number 3. Kahit try lang po, guess lang po sa sagot. Okay, sa number 3, ang tamang sagot po ay letter medyo matagal lumabas. Letter B. Number 3, letter C daw. Sabi ni Francine Alexis Belen. Letter B, yes, tama ang sagot mo, Joven Magada Gomez. Letter B sa number 3. Okay, next. Number 4. The reference list is arranged in the order in which resources are cited in your research paper. Is it A, true, or B, false? Tama ba o mali? So, ang tamang sagot po ay letter. Tingnan natin, okay. Si Josh, Ligoy-Ligoy B ang kanyang sagot. Francine A daw. Watching from Tipis, Burley Pakribar, hello po, magandang hapon po. Number 4, Rika May A ang kanyang sagot. Question mark B. Ayon kay Joven. Aris Uitan B. So ang tamang sagot ay B for number 4. Okay. So, tungo tayo sa ating talakayan para sa hapon na ito at medyo mahaba-haba pa ito. Listing references. Ano nga ba ang reference section sa research? Take note po reference section po sa research. Kasi marami pong ibig sabihin ang reference na term. Meron pong references sa resume, meron po yan. So, iba pong ibig sabihin yan. Sa research naman po, ang ibig sabihin ng reference section ay an alphabetic list of the references or sources you used and cited in the text of your paper. Take note po list of references or sources you used and cited in the text of your paper. It provides the information necessary for a reader to locate and retrieve any sources you cited in the body of the paper. So, twofold po ang kanyang purpose. No? Why do we write a reference section? Based po sa ating definition. No? First, it's for you to give acknowledgement of your sources and references you used and cited, and for the readers to know more about those sources or references you use by looking at the reference section. Okay? Now, meron din po tayong tinatawag na bibliography or works cited. Anong pagkakaiba nito sa references or reference? Bibliography is used in research also in many disciplines to provide either a list of sources used when writing a report, regardless of whether or not they were cited in the text, or just a list of relevant sources that are recommended reading for the subject areas. So, naintindihan po ang pagkakaiba nito sa reference. So, kanina po, ang reference section, alphabetical list of the references or sources you used and cited in the text of your paper. Whereas sa bibliography, list din po siya ng mga references, pero maaring ang references na ito ay hindi ninyo sinite sa inyong body of your research. Meaning, hindi niyo ginamit. Pwedeng hindi ginamit, pero maaring makatulong sa inyong readers tungkol sa subject area or tungkol sa topic na inyong research. So, ang bibliography, pwede po siyang references na ginamit ninyo sa inyong research or hindi ninyo ginamit or hindi ninyo sinite or in-acknowledge sa inyong research paper. Yung po pagkakaiba ng reference sa bibliography or works cited. Later, we'll discuss more of the differences of bibliography or works cited and reference section or references. Ayan, sinabi ko na kanina ang purpose based sa purposes of reference list based sa definition. So, ngayon po, ito po ang ilan pang purposes or the whys of writing a of a reference list. So number one, it allows the author to credit the work of others that directly influence the present work and document any facts that are not common knowledge. So you're giving credit to whom credit is due. No? You are acknowledging the work of others by listing them in the reference list, by listing the works, no, in the reference list. Next, it gives interested readers the information necessary to identify and to retrieve these sources. So minsan kasi sa ating citation o yung tinatawag nating in-text citation sa body ng ating research, no, ang nilalagay lang natin is yung author, yung author date system, author, and then the year and page. So for the readers to know more about, let's say, the reader finds it interesting, or the reader might be looking for more information about the topic that you have cited or used in your research, then the reader can just go to the reference list for the complete information of that source. Okay? Number 3, it demonstrates the hard work that the researchers did. So, doon mo malalaman sa reference list kung ilan references ang ginamit ng researcher or researchers. No, baka isa lang o dalawa. So medyo alanganin ang ating research niyan kung isa or dalawa lang ang ating sources of information, no? That will reflect, something about the researcher, the attitude of the researcher. Kung konti lang ang kanyang references na ginamit. So malalaman mo yan sa reference list kung meron bang effort or hard work na ginawa ang researcher or researchers. Gaano ba ka-credible talaga yung research niya, no? Gaano ba ano tawag nito? Ka information loaded ang kanyang research. Okay? Next, it also distinguishes the researcher's ideas from those cited in the research report. So, malalaman din po natin sa reference list, no, kung ang information na ginamit nung researcher ay sa kanya ba talaga or kinuha niya lang sa kanyang references or sources, no? At diyan po na natin malalaman kung meron bang plagiarism issue ang research report. Okay? So those are the purposes of the reference list. So ngayon, kanina sa ating objectives, meron po na-mention na APA. APA is one of the referencing styles or formats na ginagamit ng researchers. And APA stands for American Psychological Association. So sila po ang nag-introduce ng reference style na ito sa research, no? It's an author date based style which gives emphasis on the author and the date of a piece of work. And it is used in social and behavioral sciences, in engineering, course education, and other fields. And malalaman mo na APA ang ginamit na referencing style kasi sa references section or page, ang nakalagay na title ay references or Okay? So APA style ang gamit niya kung references ang title sa reference section or reference page. The next referencing styles is called MLA, or the Modern Language Association, which is most often applied in the arts and humanities, particularly in the United States. And ito, works cited naman ang title sa reference list. No, works cited, hindi references. So, kung works cited ang nakalagay sa title ng reference section, MLA ang ginamit na referencing style. Meron din pong Harvard. It's very similar to APA and used in the UK and Australia. So, since UK siya, tinawag nilang Harvard, hindi American Psychological Association or APA. But similar, I mean, ang style niya is similar sa APA. Parang iniba lang nila yung pangalan. Maybe Harvard ang unang gumamit ng referencing style nito. Pero silong konting pagkakaiba. It is used in the humanities, no, ang Harvard. And the fourth is Chicago and Turabian. Actually, fourth and fifth, no? So, 5. But then, ang Chicago and Turabian, parang, ano yan eh, parang APA and Harvard, magkaparehas, no? Magkaparehas ng style, almost the same. Used widely for history and economics. Have 2 citation options, note system, which utilizes footnotes and endnotes to link text to sources, and author date system, or the parenthetical in-text citations. So, ang Chicago system, referencing style, ang gumagamit ng footnotes or endnotes, yung sa baba, meron pong, di ba, after the particular sentence, merong number, ano bang tawag sa number na yan? Superscript na number. And then, sa baba, merong maliit na information and number muna, and then the footnote, which is about the source, no? The source of that information, particular information. Now, bibliography naman po ang kanilang ginagamit sa kanilang list of references. I mean, ang title niya ay bibliography. So, yun po ang pagkakaiba ng iba't ibang referencing styles. In terms of the title they use on the page for the reference list. For Chicago and Turabian, bibliography. So, pag bibliography ang nakalagay sa title, Chicago and Turabian ang ginamit. Kung MLA naman, ang title niya is Works Cited, and kung APA, References. Okay. I hope malinaw na po sa lahat. So, marami po tayong watcher from SDO, Negros Occidental, si Joven Gomez, Zamboanga City, Alan Escocia Pawaki, Elisa Grivas from Tarlac, Rosalyn Abad from Francisco Dagohoy. Ayan, sino pa? Magandang hapon din, Avic Ilagan. Sige, proceed na po tayo. Ito po ang example, just a parang quick review kasi nga nasa mga previous module na ito. So, example po ng isang in-text citation in APA format. So, mayroon po dalawang type of in-text citation, narrative in-text citation at parenthetical in-text citation. If it is narrative, author's last name in the sentence is followed by publication, year in parentheses. And then at the end, page number, at the end of the sentence, page number in parentheses. So, narrative in-text citation. Parenthetical naman po, nasa loob ng parentheses ang tatlong information na yon, yung author, yung year, publication year, at ang page number. So, yun po pagkakaiba ng narrative in-text citation at parenthetical in-text citation. Okay. So, these are the general rules in listing references, and these rules are based on the 7th edition of the APA referencing style. 7th edition na po, and this was revised last from 6th edition po. 6th edition was published in October 2009, and then year 2009, I do not know what month. And then last October 2019, nagkaroon po ng 7th edition wherein meron pong mga pagbabago sa referencing style, no? Sa particularly doon po sa format ng entry sa reference list, no? Meron po mga pagbabago from the 6th edition in 2009, and in 2019 the 7th edition. So first, according to the rule, well, this is also based on previous editions, place full citations for all sources in alphabetized list at the end of your paper and start this list on a separate page. Importante po na ang inyong references page ay nasa separate page. You know? Kahit na yung conclusion nyo at recommendation ay kalahati lang nung page ng bond paper, wag nyo pong idudugtong, no, ang references page. It should be on another page, no, ang references page. Next, so since APA style ang gagamitin natin, so references ang title, and it should be centered and in bold at the top of the page. Do not underline or use quotation marks for the title. Now, kung makikita nyo may quotation marks, for emphasis lang po yan. Pero, hindi po siya dapat lagyan ng tawag ito, quotation marks at underline. At mas lalong hindi po dapat siya naka-colored. Okay? Black lang po siya ang kanyang font color. All text should be double-spaced just like the rest of your research. Now, before, sa 6th edition, ang references ay hindi dapat naka-bold, no? Hindi rin dapat naka-underline or quotation marks. But now, in the 7th edition, naka-bold na po siya. Okay, next. All lines after the first line of each entry should be indented 1/2 inch or 5 to 7 spaces from the left margin. This is called hanging indentation. So, kanina po sa activity natin, dun sa may choices, no? Gumamit po tayo ng hanging indentation. Indented, sa laptop nyo naman po, you just click or press the tab key. O kung hindi man, 5 to 7 spaces on your space bar, no? Para lang po. Again, indented yung second and the succeeding lines, no, of your reference entry. No, kung one line lang siya, edi one line lang. Pero kung hindi po siya, kung umabot siya ng 2 lines or 3 lines, so masyadong mahaba, especially mga web sources, so yun, nagkakaroon po ng more than 1 line. So yan po ang rule. Next, all authors' names should be inverted. Last name should be provided first. Author's first and middle name should be written as initials. No? Initials lang po ang first and middle name. So last name lang ang full. And then, mauna ang last name. Now, sa MLA, I do not know kung meron silang bagong edition, pero sa MLA, kompleto po siya. Pero nauna rin po ang last name, no? Nandiyan pa ba ang ating mga taga-subaybay. Sana po ay meron po kayo natututunan sa ating tinatalakay ngayon. At next rule ay give the last name and first or middle initials for all authors of a particular work up to and including 20 authors. So 20 authors na po, kung 20 authors po ang reference or source na ginamit ninyo. And it's a new rule kasi sa APA 6th edition up to 6 authors lang. No? So after the 6th author, nilalagay et al. No? Et al ibig sabihin and others, no? Or ang tatlong period. Tatlong period. Separate each author's initials from the next author in the list with a comma. Use an ampersand before the last author's name. If there are 21 or more authors, use an ellipsis but no ampersand after the 19th author, and then add the final author's name. Okay. So kung more than 20 ang author sa isang, sobrang dami naman po, no? Pero that's possible. More than 20 authors ang isang reference or material, the rule is, ano nga ba ang rule? Use an ellipsis after the 19th author and then add the final author's name. So let's say merong 25. So pagka 19th author na, kumpleto lahat sila, pangalan, tatlong dot, ellipsis. No? And then, kung sino man yung last author, 25th na author, isusulat nyo yung kanyang pangalan. Okay? Next, reference list entries should be alphabetized with the last name of the first author of each work. So kung sino po ang first author dun sa libro, yung nakasulat, no? Based dun sa libro, kahit hindi nyo po, let's say 20 na authors, hindi nyo po kailangang i-alphabetize sila. No? Kung sino po yung nauna dun sa lista, based dun sa libro, yung po yung inyong pagbabasihan ng pag-alphabetize sa lahat ng entries ninyo sa inyong reference list. Okay? Sir, pwede po makahingi ng slide. For the slides po, nasa ano po siya, i-upload po siya sa DepEd Commons. And meron na po tayong recorded, no, recorded ng ating tutorial sa Facebook, sa Edtech, DepEd Edtech Unit, and ano pa? And sa YouTube. Okay, for multiple articles by the same author or authors listed in the same order, list the entries in chronological order from earliest to most recent. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nito? Merong iba't ibang articles. No, iba't ibang articles. Pero the same authors. Same authors. So, paano mo siya i-arrange sa list ninyo, sa reference list? Sabi dito, list the entries in chronological order from the earliest to most recent. No? So, kung ano po yung pinakaunang article na na-publish nung same authors na yun po yung unahin ninyo sa inyong reference list. So, kung merong, let's say, article in 2019, so 2019 muna, no? And then 2020, 2021. Next rule. When referring to the titles of books, chapters, articles, reports, web pages, or other sources, capitalize only the first letter, the first word of the title, and subtitle, the first word after a colon or a dash in the title, and proper nouns. So, malinaw po, no? Sa capitalization naman po sa title, no, ng books, chapters, articles, reports, and web pages, the first letter of the first word lang ang ika-capitalize. So hindi po lahat, no? Hindi po lahat ika-capitalize sa references page. And of course, kapag ika-capitalize ang proper noun sa title. Italicized titles of longer works like books, edited collections, names of newspapers, and so on. And do not italicize, underline, or put quotes around the titles of shorter works such as chapters in books or essays in edited collections. Next, present journal titles in full, italicized journal titles. No? Journal titles in full and italicized journal titles. Next, maintain any non-standard punctuation and capitalization that is used by the journal in its title. For example, you should use Filosofia instead of Filosofia, or past ampersand present instead of past and present. So kung ano po yung pagkakasulat dun sa title ng material, ng journal, no? Yun dun po yung ating dapat i-reflect sa ating reference page. Hindi po natin babaguhin, no? So Filosofia, Fellow, then Sophia, capital lahat. And then past and present, past, ampersand, present, hindi yung word aan. Next rule, capitalize all major words in the titles of journals. Note that this differs. Okay, pagdating na po sa titles and journals, dapat nakakapital lahat. No, dapat nakakapital lahat ng major words. Unlike po sa kanina nating rule na ang first letter ng first word lang ang nakakapitalize. No? Capitalize the first word, the titles and subtitles of journal articles, as well as the first word after a colon or a dash in the title, and any proper nouns. Okay? Halimbawa, later may halimbawa tayo, ayan. Do not italicize or underline the article title. Do not enclose the article title in quotes. For example, Deep Blue, The Mysteries of the Marianas Trench, published in the journal Oceanographic Study, a peer-reviewed publication. You would write the article title as follows: Deep Blue, The Mysteries of the Marianas Trench. So, Deep Blue, D capitalize D, T, M, and the T. And then, for the journal title, capitalize all first letter of each word. Okay? Next. Hello? I hope I'm still live online. Next. So, yun po ang rules sa listing references using the APA style. For more information, you can go to this website where I retrieved the information I used, no? Some of the information. At marami pa po kayong malalaman sa website na to and other websites, no? Credible websites. And here's a sample APA style references page. So if you can see on your screen, references is centered, although dito hindi siya naka-bold. And then 1 inch ang kanyang margin. Of course, you have the page number right aligned, 1/2 inch ang margin, and then use center sentence case for titles of articles. Use a hanging indent for more than one line. Use initials for first and middle names, gaya po yung sinabi natin kanina. And kung meron pong URL or DOI, DOI is digital object, I forgot the information, digital object information, I think. Sorry, digital object identifier ang DOI. URL, Uniform Reference Locator. So, walang period. Unlike sa ibang reference entry, merong period. Use a hanging indent for more than one line. Use initials. Okay. Double space. Do not add additional line space between entries. 1-inch margin. Running head. Optional. No period for citations ending with, okay. And add a period at the end for all citations. All right. So, reference formats na po tayo. For books,
In this video, you will learn the APA guidelines for adding a book to your paper's reference page.
okay. So, this video is based on the 6th edition of the APA style, no?
The first part of the video will present the basic rules for a standard single-author book. And the second segment will show you how to reference a single chapter or article from a book, an edition after the first, and a multi-volume work. To start with, all your references should be listed at the end of your paper, on a separate page with the centered heading References. Remember to return to left alignment. The basic APA reference begins with the author's last name, followed by a comma, and the author's first initial, along with any middle initials. Make sure to add a space, then the year of publication in parentheses, followed by a period. You can always find the year on the copyright page, which can be found at the beginning of the book. Now add the title of the book in italics. Only capitalize the first word of the title, not every word. However, you should still capitalize proper nouns like names and countries, as well as the first word of a subtitle. After removing the italics option, find the city of publication and the name of the publishing company on the copyright page. For U.S. publications, add the name of the city, a comma, and the two-letter state abbreviation. For non-U.S. publications, include the city and country. If there are multiple cities listed on the copyright page, only include the first city. Now add a colon, and complete the reference with the name of the publishing company, followed by a period. If your reference exceeds a single line, indent every line after the first. This is called a hanging indent. For a single chapter or article in an edited work, use the following sequence. First, the author or authors of the chapter, period, the year of publication in parentheses, period, the title of the chapter or article, with only the first word capitalized, except for proper nouns and subtitles, period, the word in, the names of the editor or editors. Be sure to add the first and middle initials before the last name, the abbreviation ED for editor in parentheses, comma, and then the title of the book in italics. Remove the italics option. Then add the chapter's page numbers in parentheses with the abbreviation PP. Add another period. And finally, the publication information, including the location and publishing company. Don't forget the half-inch hanging indent. For an addition after the first, include the number of the addition in parentheses after the title, but without italics. Use cardinal numerals such as second, third, or fourth. Abbreviate the word addition as ED with a period. Then we'll add the hanging indent. For a multi-volume work, include in parentheses the abbreviation VOLS with a period and the range of volume numbers you are referencing. This goes right after the title, but again, it is not italicized. Always alphabetize your reference list by the leftmost element of the reference, which is usually the author's last name. This concludes the basic instructions for an APA book reference. For more information on writing references or in-text citations in APA or MLA, please follow the links in the video description.
Okay. So, ito po ang formats for the book based on the APA 7th edition. So, pinaliwanag po kanina dun sa video. Author first, and then the year, the title in italics, no, and publisher, and then you have the hanging indentation, which is 5 to 7 spaces. Now, if you notice, publisher na lang po ang nilalagay sa publisher information. Wala na po yung location ng publisher or kung saan siya saang city, no? City or country. So, publisher na yan. Yan po ay isa sa mga changes sa APA 7th edition. Hello? Hello? Connecting. Where's my... Okay. So I'm still online. Sorry po. Medyo nawala po kanina ang aking connection. Anyway, bilisan na lang po natin ang ating discussion. Okay. So, ang reference format po sa book ay again, andyan po sa inyong screen. Ngayon, punta naman po tayo sa reference format ng newspapers or periodicals. So, hindi na lang po natin ipi-play ang video dahil medyo matatagalan tayo. Kaya proceed na lang po tayo. Anyway, ganun din naman po ang format no kanina sa book.
Good afternoon po, Sir Rona.
Hello po. Okay pa po ba?
Yes po. Yes po.
Ay, sorry po. Nawawala po kasi sa sa cellphone. Sige po. Salamat po. So ngayon po nasa format na po tayo ng periodical or ng newspaper. So again, ang format po for material which is a periodical or newspaper ay sumusunod. So again, author, year and publication date, article title, and then the title of the newspaper or periodical in italics, and then the URL if you retrieved your information from the internet. Again, you have the indentation which is 5 to 7 or the hanging indentation which is 5 to 7 spaces. Ngayon naman po, ang reference format for web pages. So if you notice from the book to the periodical and to the web pages, so palagi pong naunang author and then the year or date of publication and then the title of the article followed by the title of the reference material, whether it's a book, a web page, or a periodical or newspaper. And for the web page, for the URL, no, or DOI, again, based on the 7th edition of APA, you do not end it with a period, no? Kasi sa 6th edition, all reference entries should have a period at the end. But for the 7th edition, for URLs and DOI, hindi naman po siya nag-e-end sa period. Next, for social media, no? Dahil nga po nasa social media na po tayo mga ilang oras ba o sometimes ginugugol natin ang buong araw sa social media, and maybe sa ating research, no, nakakakuha tayo ng information sa social media, no, like Twitter, Facebook, and others. So ang format po niya ay again author, no, and then the Twitter handle and the year and date, no, and then the title of the information or perhaps the tweet, okay, the tweet, and then the web attachment format and the web address. Again, you have the indentation which is 5 to 7 spaces indentation. Next, format for journals. So you have the author again, the year, inside the parenthesis, the article title, again, no underline and no quotation marks. Then the journal title in italics, and then you have the volume, and inside the parenthesis, the issue. Okay? The volume is also in italics. Issue number is not italicized. And then you have the pages and the DOI. And then again, indentation of 5 to 7 spaces. And then for theses and dissertations, the format is again starts with the author, the year, the title of the dissertation or the thesis, and then the university, in brackets, the level of thesis and the university and the database or archive, and the URL if it is from the internet. Kadalasan kasi sa mga information na kukuha natin sa internet, no, whether it's a book, so meron na tayong e-book. By the way, for e-book, meron palang ibang format din sa e-book. Now, for other sources like journals, newspapers, no, kung sa internet yan, same format siya sa hindi internet-based na book or newspaper periodical, only that at the end you include the link, no, yung URL or the DOI for internet-based information. Now, for audiovisual materials, take note, your research is a qualitative research. So gagamit ka rin ng audio or visual materials. So the format here is, for example, for a movie or a film, so you have the primary contributor. For example, what's the contribution of that contributor? Is he the director or the screenplay writer? Then the year the movie was shown or screened, and the title of the film or movie. Of course, inside the parentheses after the title of the film, you have what the description of work and the publisher. No, the publisher, Toothless Pictures. Indentation for the second line. Dito wala siyang indentation. Next, reference formats for conferences. Let's say you attended a conference or yung material na download ninyo is a material that was presented at the conference. So merong information doon na nakalagay doon sa material. Since it was presented in a conference at a conference, then iba po ang kanyang format. So example, the author or the presenter of that material, the presenters are Blakey and Guinea is Sagafi if, so the authors and the year, and then the title of the paper that was presented at the conference, and then in R. Walker and S. Bedford editors, research and development, volume 40, curriculum transformation pages. You have the editors of proceeding, the title of proceedings in italics, the publisher, and of course the URL. The publisher is Higher Education Research and Development Society of Australasia. Editors of proceedings, so ayan po, merong eds. No? Again, publisher na lang, wala na po ang location ng publisher. Alright, so that ends our discussion on referencing, listing references. So we've tackled about the what and the why of referencing in research. Of course, the referencing styles, no, and the general rules in listing references and the formats of an APA reference style, formats of different materials. So let's see if you have learned something by answering true or false on the following statement. Number one, a bibliography provides either a list of sources used when writing a report regardless of whether or not they were cited in the text, or just a list of relevant sources that are recommended reading for the subject areas. So the answer is true. Okay, hi po, still watching, si Joven Magada Gomez, si Becca Pugay, good afternoon, Ferdinand de la Cruz, pasensya na po, nawala po tayo kanina, akala ko nawala ang aking presentation, sa cellphone lang pala. Okay, sige, proceed po tayo. Next statement, you must cite what you use and use what you cite. Is it true or false? It is true. Reference list entries should be alphabetized with the last name of the first author of each work. Is it true or false? Of course, it's true. And then, author's first and middle names should be written in full. First and middle names. Dapat nga ba nakasulat in full? It's false. All lines of each entry should be indented 1/2 inch or 5 to 7 spaces from the left margin. False. All lines? No. Dapat second and succeeding lines lamang ang naka-indent or half inch or 5 to 7 spaces from the left margin. Journal title should be presented in full and italicized. Is it true or false? It is. All right, true. Next. So this time, you're going to answer later at home as your assignment. Why is a reference list important in a research report? So what are the importance or the purposes? Maybe you could discuss them. And then compare and contrast the 4 referencing styles, 4 or 5. So you have again the APA style, the MLA, Harvard, Chicago, and Turabian referencing styles. Okay. So here's another activity. What I can do, let's see if we can do this. So you're going to write a reference list entry for the following book as a source of information. So the book is entitled Practical Research 1 for Senior High School by Nelia G. Prieto, Victoria C. Naval, and Teresita G. Carey, published in Quezon City in 2017 by Lorimal Publishing Incorporated. So here's the answer. So dapat yan po ang answer ninyo. Prieto, NG, Naval, VC, and Carey, TG. Take note of the punctuations po kasi kasama din po yan sa ating rules, no, sa format, no, ang tamang punctuation after each information about the book or reference material. And then the ampersand, take note ampersand, and then followed by the year 2017 inside the parenthesis, and then period. Practical research ones for senior high school, capitalize only the letter P in practical, and then period, Lorimar Publishing Incorporated, period. So wala na po ang city or location of the publisher. Next, yan, another book entitled Critical Reading and Writing for the Senior High School by Filomena T. Dayagbil, Ethel L. Abaw, and Remedios C. Bacus. Published in Quezon City in 2016 by Lorimar Publishing Incorporated. So ayan po ang answer. Dayagbil, FT, Abaw, EL, and Bacus RC, 2016. Critical Reading and Writing for the Senior High School. Italicized, capital C in critical, and then Lorimal Publishing Incorporated, period. And then you have the hanging indentation for the second and third line. Next, newspaper article. A news article entitled On 35th EDSA Anniversary, Duterte tells Filipinos to protect rights, democratic institutions, by Daphne Galvez, published online by the URL and on February 25, 2021. Your answer should be like this. Okay, Galvez T 2021, comma, February 25. So nasa parenthesis, period, and then the title of the article, and then the title of, what's this? Periodical, Inquirer.net, no? Kasi Inquirer.net, online platform po siya ng Inquirer. So title din po siya ng material ng newspaper. And then the URL, no? The URL. Now sa URL po pala, before we write retrieved from, no? Yung word na retrieved from. Sa 7th edition ng APA referencing style, wala na po, tinanggal na po yung retrieved from. So, diretso na po siya sa URL. Okay? Next. So, dumako naman po tayo sa assessment. So, ang gagawin nyo po sa inyong assessment, So, i-apply nyo po ang inyong natutunan sa hapon na ito, which is using the APA style and format of citation or listing of references. Prepare, kung wala pa po kayong references section ng inyong research report, you prepare, or kung meron man, proofread or edit each entry. So, bawat entry, edit nyo po or proofread from the first information, the author, of course, include the punctuation, capitalization, and the hanging indentation, etc. So, yun po ang inyong pinaka-assessment, ang inyong po pinaka-application sa atin pong discussion sa hapon na ito. So, kung wala pa po kayong references section ng inyong research report, kung di-defend pa lang po kayo or magsasubmit pa lang kayo ng inyong research report, then you can prepare your references section, or kung meron man, let's say tapos na kayo nag-submit, marahil pinabalik sa ng inyong research teacher para i-edit, para i-revise, then that's the time, this is a perfect time for you to proofread and edit your references section, no? Applying what we have discussed earlier. Now, for the format pala, I mean the referencing style, hindi naman po natin talagang parang sinasuggest, I mean mandatory suggestion na APA style. Depende po yan sa teacher ninyo, sa research teacher. APA style kasi sa ngayon, APA style talaga ang kadalasang ginagamit sa student researches, no? Even sa college, so APA style. But then, depende po yan sa inyong research teacher. Baka po MLA style ang pinapagamit sa inyo or Chicago. So, nasa sa inyo po yun. So again, bakit nga ba jowa-wall ang researcher? Ito po ang ilan sa mga dahilan. Pero let me just add that in relation po sa ating discussion ngayon, ang researcher ay hindi nangaangkin ng ideya ng iba at i-acknowledge niya ang effort ng iba. Or in other words, may originality siya at re-respetuhin kanya. So yun po, bakit jowa-wall ang researcher? So again, researcher nga, i-defend niya, ikaw pa kaya. So good luck po sa inyong defense. So ilan lamang po ito sa mga research presentation, report presentation ng aking klase in the previous school years, yung wala pa pong pandemic. Ayan po ang panel of oral defense. Nasa gitna po ako, ayan po. So, that's it. Thank you very much po again sa pakikinig sa araw na ito. Good luck po sa inyong research report presentation and oral defense. Kung wala pa po kayo nakapag-defense or nakapag-submit, kung hindi man kayo magde-defense, sana po ay nakatulong ang ating pong talakayan sa araw na ito. At kung hindi man po kayo nakasubaybay sa araw na ito, maaari nyo pong balikan ang video na ito sa Facebook page ng DepEd Edtech Unit, DepEd Philippines, DepEd tayo, at sa YouTube din po ng DepEd Edtech Unit. No? And since ito po ay Practical Research 1, next semester po ay Practical Research 2. So muli po tayo magkikita-kita. Hopefully, abangan nyo rin po ako kung kayo po ay magtitake ng Practical Research 2 next semester, second sem. No? Which will start next week. So next week na. So muli po, maraming salamat. Ito po muli ang inyong online tutor, Tutor Ronald. Nagsabing daghang salamat, damo nga salamat, maraming salamat. Thank you. And again, maupay nga kulop sa aking mga kababayan ng waray o maayong hapon sa mga Bisaya. Magandang hapon and good afternoon. Thank you and good afternoon again. Tabayanan sa statistics and probability.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETULay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan sa Lunes mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETULay free online tutorial session sa Science. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETULay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!